Good folks, what is up and how are you doing? This is your favorite, well, I assume I still am, your favorite struggling R&B producer, Valentine did plug, and we are back with another video in which we are making some smooth R&B. You get me? So I got my chord progression lined up here right now, but before I want to break it down, I want to hit you up with a preview first, get you all nice and ready. So you just sit back, relax, and let me do the work. Yeah. All right. Welcome back into FL Studio, y'all. I don't want to waste time, actually. I just want to get right to breaking down this chord progression. This chord progression, as y'all can see here on the highlighted black flat note, I am writing this in the key of A flat major, aka G sharp major, whichever is your favorite way of putting it. So I'm starting off with a pretty vanilla chord, C major ninth chord. Now that goes into an inverted F minor 7th chord, of which I am using the 5th as a bass note. That then goes right back into the same chord, C minor 7 chord, and that goes into a B diminished 9th chord, and that then goes back into that C minor 9th chord. So I'm relying heavily on that C minor 9th chord, but I'm also relying a lot on this dominant chord to add just a little bit of necessary tension. Now here you can actually see I'm kind of switching things up. I'm going for an F sus4 chord with this D on top. I was actually going for an F sus4 7th chord. I didn't like it. I decided to pitch it down half a semitone, and that's how I got this. So this is the chord progression. Let me just play it for y'all. Now y'all got a little bit of a taste of the guitar, right? So let me go and break that down too, because that guitar is a treat. Alright, so guitar, once again, nothing too fancy. I'm still limited by my playing ability, but you did hear that I incorporated hammer-ons in my guitar playing. So, as I said, the chord is actually C minor 9, but I'm playing a C minor 7 here on my guitar, so that goes like this. Then I transition into this F minor 7. Then I go back to this A, C minor 7. And then it gets kind of dicey, because then I play that diminished chord. This is not the diminished chord. That is actually the diminished chord I'm looking for. And I'm also incorporating these hammer-ons. And here's the thing, actually. You see my finger position. It's actually kind of difficult, because for the hammer-on, I gotta land my pinky on the string. And that has been difficult. So I'm gonna admit, I did record this using punch-ins. See, I can't get it 100%, but at least I got it right for the take. So these hammer-ons add a lot of sauce to the beat. So then you have the hammer-on. And basically it went like that. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of thinking and planning ahead. I'm going to this pattern, I'm going to clone it, and I want to differentiate by having a piano pattern. I am going to add the strum to both of them, but I want one with a lower velocity than the other, so that I can use one for the hook and one for the verse. And the verse is meant to indicate that the piano goes into the background by playing at a lower velocity, so that you can easily distinguish between them. I think that at this point, all I want to add right now is maybe a pad and a vocal chop from Arcade, and then the sample is complete as far as you ask me. So that means that I'm going to be building, and I'm thinking that we're going to turn this into a Summer Walker type beat. I'm thinking perhaps a Z 808 and a clap. That's definitely what I want to start out with. So let's go and work that idea. So there's a little something that I want to explain. As you know, I'm actually working in the key of G sharp major or A flat major, whatever you want to call it. But here I'm using a minor kit and I'm using the F. Now here's the thing, with vocal runs, the keys, the notes correspond with the key you're working with. So for example, if I'm using a major kit and I'm working in G sharp major, I gotta snap all my notes to G sharp major and I'll make sure that they're in key. Now, I actually had to find out the relative minor. And the relative minor is a good thing to know because it allows you to freestyle in the minor pentatonic, of course, but that's a different story. But it also allows you to do interesting things with your auto-tune. So with that being said, that's actually why you see me working in minor. So this is what my vocal sample sounds after a lot of processing. And this was a deliberate choice because I don't want my vocal sample to be too present. I actually want it to be very cloudy, and in the back I might just make a little bit more EQ cuts and lay down a little bit on the form manipulation so that it does sound a little bit more brighter. So I got me a dope pad, a dope ambient pad out of the Loophole kit, which is available for Analog Lab. Buy it, by the way. Don't download it. Fucking buy it. And I did my typical processing thing on it. I really like that pad, so with Shaperbox, I added some pan shaper as well, so that you hear it traveling from left to right every time it hits. It doesn't come with any natural delay or reverb, so I did have to add a couple of that using my two buses. I'm just fade it a little bit more. And it's perfect like that. So let's go and lay down some drums. Y'all want me to really keep it a stack? Y'all want me to really be honest with you? This beat is done. This beat is done. And I'm saying this because there is a song in my head by Summer Walker that I'm using for reference. YT. Kind of the same setup. A lot more cloudy. Doesn't have guitar, but it does have that Z 808 or the Mirror 808, whichever you know it as a basis. I don't think it has a kick in the song, but you know, I think that even if I were to loop this over and over, add some slight variations, I would have a decent beat that you could use for the single. Catchy, has space for the artist, all of that jazz. Is the video at its end? No, it still isn't, because y'all know me. I'm still gonna fuck around, but I have a solid foundation. I have a beat. I got a beat. Now, as per usual, let's go add a little bit more sauciness to these hi-hats. I'm just gonna do some random rolls here and there. Then I'm gonna just play the drum pattern and you know, double check if I even like what the hell I'm doing. Cause at this point, I'm not looking at them. I'm not doing them pinpoint. I'm not carefully strategically planning where I want them to be. I just, you know, highlight them, hit Control U, and then I'm gonna just see what I get. Then I just used the paint tool and I painted these hi-hats. I'm gonna turn the velocity down on these because I don't want these to be too prominent. I do want these to be a lot more stealthy. I want them to be a lot more low-key, if you get me. Boom, I got a lot of them in the high register. I should probably, boom, even it out just a little bit. So then I'm going to this little button here. I'm gonna hit no pan. I'm gonna pan a few of them left. I'm gonna pan a few of them right. And that should be good to go. And then I'll just have a nice little saucy hi-hat pattern, Valentine plug style. Having a solid foundation for your beat, or beat that is essentially done, is to me an invitation to go and think about the details. And that brings up automation. So Little Alto Boy, what it essentially does, you all know this plugin, it's one of the most well-known plugins by Soundtoys. It allows you to change the pitch and the formant. So I have my formant shift on by default. What I am going to do, I am going to automate it where every 8 bars, it alternates between being on at full blast and just being off, because I do feel that playing with automation is one thing that producers still don't do enough. So that's why I'm saying, yo, get your automation right, man. Shit. Okay, let's go spend some time adding some perks. So I got this little open hat here. Does the trick, it's fine in its place. I just need to place it correctly to where it really adds to that. Now, there are beat makers who feel that after they've laid down a solid foundation, they can just loop it over and over and call it a day. Me, I'm still thinking about how I can keep the listener entrapped, ensnared, and just genuinely interested in the composition I have. And an important thing to do in that is to take things away, because you know, variation doesn't have to be intricate, it doesn't have to be complex or anything. You can just take things away, and that is variation enough. You can build suspense, that is also a form of, you know, adding variation. You can add climaxes, you can add dips, you can do basically whatever you want. You don't have to add new melodic, harmonic content for your beat to have some variation. Often you just have to subtract things. And that's actually what I'm going to be doing. See, I got my intro right here, which is, you know, the entire sample, and the bass comes in the second phrase. And here, basically, this is what I intend to be as a hook. So you get the hook at the beginning. Now here, I think I already took away the kick. So you hear like that mirror 808, which is like, you know, and it's common practice to use that without a kick. So that actually works in that piece. The loop, I chopped it up just a little bit, so often it plays and sometimes you don't hear the ending. Sometimes you don't even hear the beginning, and that just continues until here. Here's where you get the hook again. However, what's different from the first time is the fact that it has automation on the vocal sample. So the vocal sample is going to be a lot brighter. And I could keep going on and on and on, but adding variation doesn't have to be intricate. Reason I'm telling you this is because when you make a Summer Walker type beat and you listen very closely, you hear that they're actually not too complex. And none of pop music is complex. It's intricate in ways that you do not immediately hear. And I guarantee you, if you spend just a little bit more time focusing on that, then your beats are going to be complex without sounding complex. I'm not saying this in a superficial internet producer type of way. I'm saying this in, just an experimental, having fun and making music type of way, if you know what I'm saying. The last arrangement tip that I want to give y'all, which is, I think, a very common tip, but the part that draws the most attention, don't give it to them all the time. Don't give it to them immediately. Make them fucking work for it. The guitar is easily the most defining part of the composition. So when the guitar leaves, the question has to be for the listener, what's the guitar doing? When's the guitar coming back? Right? And that's how you build suspense. And that's why I insist on not letting the loop play over and over. And to some people, it may be the piano. Hell, I just may even remove the piano somewhere, for the sake of it. But, if you have a defining part in your composition, take it away. See what happens. See which kind of questions you're asking yourself. Alright, beautiful people, there's really nothing more that I have to give to you. There's really nothing more that I have to show to you because I have such a solid foundation for this beat. There's nothing more that I need to add. The beat is practically done. I want to thank y'all once again for tuning into this video, stomaching me, my bullshit. If you like, comment, and subscribe, I would deeply appreciate that. If you upvote it, since I'm posting it on Reddit as well, I would deeply appreciate that. I'm going to see y'all next time. Y'all be easy. Peace.